Constantinople. The year is 1453, and the greatest city in Christendom is under siege. For over 1,000 years, these walls have stood unbreached, protecting the last remnant of the Roman Empire. But now, Sultan Mehmed II has brought 80,000 soldiers and the largest cannons the world has ever seen. In 53 days, everything will change. I used modern AI tools to reconstruct Constantinople during its final siege, all based on historical records and eyewitness accounts. We're going to move in real close, talk about specific locations, and get a feel for what it was like being right there during history's most dramatic siege. One city, two empires, the moment that ended the Middle Ages. And at its heart, the Theodosian Walls, the greatest fortification ever built. This view shows the triple line of defences on the western landward side. By 1453, these walls had protected Constantinople for over 1,000 years. The outer wall rises 12 metres, backed by a second wall twice that height, and behind that, the massive inner rampart studded with 96 towers. In the foreground, you can see the deep moat 40 metres wide, where Byzantine soldiers are positioning timber palisades. You'd hear hammers on stone, men shouting orders in Greek, the creak of wooden scaffolding as work gangs repair cracks in the ancient masonry. But there's desperate tension here. Emperor Constantine XI has only 7,000 men to defend 14 miles of wall. Food is already being rationed. And outside, just beyond bowshot, Sultan Mehmed's army is assembling. These walls had turned back Avars, Arabs, and Crusaders, but they'd never faced anything like what was coming. Today, you can still walk along sections of these same walls in modern Istanbul. This is the Basilica of Hagia Sophia, the largest church in the Christian world, built by Emperor Justinian in 537 AD. The massive dome rises 56 meters high, spanning 31 meters across. Inside, golden mosaics cover every surface, reflecting candlelight from thousands of lamps. The air thick with incense, the sound of Byzantine chants echoing off marble walls. By April 1453, terrified citizens packed inside, praying for a miracle. They believed an ancient prophecy that angels would descend to save the city. Priests carried sacred icons through the streets. Women and children took refuge inside, sleeping on the marble floors. Outside, you could hear the distant boom of Ottoman cannons, getting closer every day. On May 29th, Ottoman soldiers would break through. The final liturgy ended abruptly as Turkish warriors burst through the doors. Within hours, the church would become a mosque. Today, it still stands as one of the greatest buildings ever constructed. This view shows the imperial palace of Blaşerne in the northwest corner. This is where Emperor Constantine XI spent the final weeks of the siege. Built right into the wall system, the palace towers rise above the Theodosian Walls, overlooking the weakest section of defences. By May 1453, Constantine knew this was where the final assault would come. He'd walk these walls every night, checking defences, encouraging exhausted soldiers. Most courtiers had fled. The imperial treasury was nearly bankrupt. Constantine had sold the palace's silver to pay his soldiers. You'd hear the constant thunder of the great Ottoman cannon firing 600-kilogram stone balls that shook the entire structure. Constantine slept in his armour. On the night of May 28th, he attended a final service in Hagia Sophia, then returned here to prepare for the assault he knew was coming at dawn. Hours later, he died fighting on the walls, his body never identified. This is the Golden Horn, the natural harbour that made Constantinople wealthy. Shaped like a horn curving 7 kilometres into the city, this harbour could shelter thousands of ships. In the foreground, you can see the massive chain stretched across the harbour mouth, preventing the Ottoman fleet from entering. Behind it, Venetian and Genoese merchant ships, their masts creating a forest of wood against the skyline. You'd hear sailors shouting in Italian and Greek, the smell of tar and salt water. This chain had protected the city for centuries. But on April 22nd, 1453, something impossible happened. Sultan Mehmed ordered 70 ships dragged overland on greased logs, up a hill and down into the Golden Horn behind the chain. Byzantine defenders woke up to find an Ottoman fleet inside their protected harbour. The psychological impact was devastating. Suddenly, the city had to defend twice as much wall. Today, you can still visit the Golden Horn, now lined with modern buildings. This view shows the Ottoman siege camp outside the walls. Stretching for miles, you can see thousands of tents, supply wagons, and in the foreground the massive siege cannon called Basilica. Built by the Hungarian engineer Orban, this gun was 8 meters long and fired stone balls weighing over 600 kilograms. The cannon crew of 200 men worked in shifts. You'd hear the roar when it fired, a sound so loud it could be heard 15 kilometers away. The ground shook. Buildings inside the city cracked from the vibrations. After each shot, they had to let it cool for hours. Still, over 53 days, these guns fired thousands of rounds, slowly pulverizing walls that had stood for a millennium. Behind the artillery lines, Mehmed's command tent where the 21-year-old Sultan planned his assault. The Ottomans brought 80,000 men, outnumbering the defenders more than 10 to 1. This is the final assault at dawn on May 29, 1453. After 53 days of bombardment, Ottoman forces pour through breaches in the walls near Blaşerne. In the foreground you can see janissaries, the Sultan's elite infantry in white caps, climbing over rubble. Behind them, thousands more troops. Byzantine defenders fight desperately. Constantine XI himself is here, fighting as an ordinary soldier, his imperial regalia cast aside. The Genoese commander Giovanni Giustiniani is wounded and carried from the walls, causing panic. You'd hear screaming, the clash of steel, Ottoman war drums, trumpets signalling the breakthrough, the smell of blood and gunpowder smoke. By mid-morning, Ottoman flags fly from the towers. The siege is over. Mehmed II enters on a white horse and immediately goes to Hagia Sophia, ordering it converted to a mosque. The Byzantine Empire, the last continuation of ancient Rome, ends here. This view shows the Hippodrome, the ancient arena where Byzantines had gathered for centuries. Built by Constantine the Great in 330 AD, it could seat 100,000 spectators for chariot races. By 1453, the races had long stopped, but the structure still stood with its Egyptian obelisk and serpent column rising from the centre. During the siege, this open space became a gathering point for refugees fleeing the outer districts. You'd see families camped with whatever possessions they could carry. After the conquest, Mehmed preserved the Hippodrome, and Ottoman sultans continued using it for celebrations. Today, it's a public square in Istanbul where tourists walk over the same ground where Byzantine emperors once watched races. One siege, 53 days, the end of an empire. Constantinople in 1453 was the hinge of history. When those walls fell, the Middle Ages ended. Byzantine scholars fled west, bringing ancient Greek texts that sparked the Renaissance. Ottoman control of trade routes forced Europeans to seek new paths to Asia, leading to the Age of Exploration. The city that was Constantinople had stood as the shield of Christian Europe for over 1,000 years. Fast forward to today. Istanbul, built on the same site, is home to 15 million people. You can still walk the Theodosian Walls. You can still enter Hagia Sophia and stand beneath the same dome. The city that defended civilization for a millennium shows us that even the mightiest empires eventually fall, but their legacy shapes everything that comes after. Thank you so much for watching. What should I reconstruct next? Drop a comment below.